Will we really get to see Bluey's mom's childhood and how she lost her mother? Or is it true that Bingo will go to a new school and face troubles? We've gathered all the things that are likely to happen in the 4th season of Bluey, which is getting closer and closer. We know for sure that some of them will definitely happen, and others we're not sure about yet, but there's a good chance we'll see them in the upcoming episodes. Want to know all about each of them? Then join us for the next few minutes. Valentine's Day episode. One thing we're certain will happen in the 4th season of Bluey is the Valentine's Day episode. In this episode, we'll see Bluey's schoolmates engaging in the traditional Valentine's card creation and exchange. This might be the episode some fans are eagerly anticipating, where we might see Snickers and Coco exchanging their cards, just like Rusty and Indy, or perhaps even Mackenzie and Bluey handing each other a little card. But the episode wouldn't be limited to the kids, and we might see the adults giving and receiving gifts on this special day, where Bandit could give flowers and chocolates to Chili since they're adults and have the means to buy gifts for each other. I don't know about you, but I'd find this episode amazing. It would undoubtedly be a historic milestone in Bluey. Chili and Brandy's childhood. Another thing we'll probably see in more detail in the 4th season of Bluey is a bit more about Chili and Brandy's childhood. We've seen this with Bandit and his siblings when he recounted his whole redemption story in the fairy tale episode. And regarding Chili, we see very little of her as a child, like in Grandpa Mort's Memories by the Lake, or when she recalls her mother in the Dragon episode. It would be incredible to see what Chili's day was like in that episode where she meets Bandit, and to find out why she was dressed as She-Ha after all. I feel like Chili remembers that day very well, but she doesn't want to admit it to Bandit, or she might be embarrassed about something. Or it would be really cool to see the day she carved her name into the root of that tree by the swamp near Grandpa Mort's house. There are certainly several story options that would be really cool in some episode of the 4th season. Grandpa Bob making an appearance. This will certainly be one of the biggest events and one of the most anticipated in all of Bluey's seasons. The reappearance of Grandpa Bob. Ever since Joe Brumm, Bluey's creator, confirmed on a podcast that Grandpa Bob is alive and well, there has been much speculation about where he would be and what he would be doing. So this is the answer we can finally get once and for all. Maybe he's a treasure hunter and needs to be away for a long time. Or he's a fisherman who needs to spend months away from home, just like Uncle Radley, who works on an oil rig. But the fact is, Grandpa Bob hates or doesn't know how to deal with smartphones, since we haven't seen him in a video call anymore, not even at Christmas. But at least we're sure that in the 4th season we'll see Bandit's dad back in some really cool episodes. Radley and Frisky's wedding. And one of the most appropriate moments to see Grandpa Bob reappearing on the scene once again could very well be during Radley and Frisky's wedding, or when they announce they're having their first little one. Regardless of how Grandpa Bob's appearance will be, one thing is certain. We'll see both Uncle Radley and Frisky much more often in the 4th season. This is because we know time in Bluey really passes, as we can see from the birthdays celebrated by both Bluey and Bingo's friends. So, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but probably during the trip where we see the couple spending Christmas at some sunny resort, Radley proposed to Frisky and she accepted. In fact, it's very likely that in the last episode of the 3rd season, there's already talk about preparations for the ceremony and all the other details that may involve a wedding. This episode is definitely one of the ones I really want to watch. Can you imagine Bluey walking in as the ring bearer? After all, she's Radley's niece and Frisky's goddaughter, meaning she's the ideal choice.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect.
How Chili's parents met. Apparently, the relationship between Grandpa Mort and Chili's and Brandy's mom was very good, as we can even see a photo of Chili's family all together in the healer's house. Likewise, we can say that Chili's family had a lifestyle similar to Rusty's family, as in both cases, the parents served in the military and therefore spent a lot of time away from home. This keeps the rest of the family close-knit, but it would be very interesting to see what the younger versions of Bluey's grandparents were like and how they met and started their relationship. That way, we would have an idea of the relationship that was one of the reasons for the emergence of our protagonist and her little sister. Because if Chili's parents had never met, neither of them would exist, not even Chili herself. Going back to the past would be really cool, and we could get to know the Bluey and Bingo's grandma story better. Now, tell me, are you a Bluey fan? If the answer is yes, comment below, #yes! We want to know how many fans the Blue Dog and her family have. Captain and Mia. Bluey is a sensational series for several reasons, and one of them is the fact that the show's script gives great importance to practically all the secondary characters of the series, like Wendy, Judo, Mackenzie, and Rusty. This is very cool, because it makes us see much more than just the healer's house or Bluey and Bingo's school. And one of the stories that left many fans very interested is the one that deals with a possible, almost certain romance between Captain and Mia, Mackenzie and Bluey's friends. we see both of them excited because they're changing schools. After all, they're 12 years old now and are going to high school. But they promise to support each other in this moment of change, and it's kind of obvious that there's something more than just a chat and fruit picking in the school orchard. Of course, there's a chemistry between them. It would be really cool to see how this relationship unfolded and even see a bit of what their new routine is like at a new school with completely different things. An episode telling a bit about this would certainly be very successful, especially if Bluey and Mackenzie also appeared. Bingo going to school. Bingo got a little older and had her 5th birthday in the 2nd season of the series. And as the kids get older, they will need to transfer to schools that have the structure of the class they will start studying in, which means that Bingo might very likely be going to either the same school as Bluey but in a different class, or going to a completely different school. From the episode where we see Bingo and Leela growing side by side, we can see that it's very likely that most of Bingo's classmates will go to the same school as her, as we see some photos and some of them are still in them. But in any case, it would be a new adaptation for the youngest of the Healer family, and she would certainly have new activities to do. So it would be really cool to see a bit of Bingo's development in this new stage of her education.
This is brilliant.
The love life of Winton's dad. In the video where we talked about 10 background stories in Bluey, one that caught fans' attention the most was the eventful love life of Cornelius, known simply as Winton's dad, Bluey's classmate and friend. Throughout the 3 seasons, we've seen him have 2 girlfriends already, and he's been married at least once. On top of all that, now he's flirting with the mother of the terrier triplets, as we saw in the TV Shop episode. So everyone wants to know, will Cornelius finally be happy? For his and little Winton's sake, we hope he truly finds love once and for all. We're rooting for you, Cornelius! Bandit and Chili at work. Despite appearances, the truth is that both Bandit and Chili have jobs and work for real. Bandit's is easier because most people have seen the short film where he gives a lecture about a bone that he ends up biting into at the end, giving in to his canine instincts. And from his office, we can see that he works in archaeology. Surprisingly, Chili also has a job. She works in customs at Brisbane Airport. But the detail is that almost no one knows this because it's information that the show's team placed in her profile on the Ludo website, the series producer. Although it's not ideal to take children to the airport while Chili is working, it would be very cool to see at least a bit of Chili's routine at her job. I'd love to see a bit of Bluey's mom when they're not together. Ball on the roof. And to wrap up, we'd love to see, even if it was just in a short clip from one of the episodes of the 4th season, how the rugby ball that appears in the Babysitter's episode ended up on the Healer's house roof. My guess? It must have been some moment when Bandit, Stripe, and Pat were playing together in the Healer's backyard, and somehow someone threw it too hard and it got stuck up there. It would be cool to see that happen. And the 3 trying to get it down and failing, until they end up forgetting about it and it just stays stuck there. The other possibility would be that Lucky, Mackenzie, and Rusty could have been playing and one of them did the same thing, but none of them would have the courage to ask Bluey to ask her dad to get the ball for them. After all, climbing ladders is something only adults should do. Either way, it would be really cool to unravel the mystery of the rugby ball. We've just shown you 10 ideas of things we'd love to see in the upcoming episodes of the 4th season of Bluey. If you're a Bluey fan or a fan of animated shows and movies, subscribe to the channel. We have new videos every day. We're leaving 2 really cool videos for you to keep having fun. Thanks, and see you next time.